Okay, now this is a little clickbait. You'll notice that I put quotation around Linux. That's because I don't really hate Linux, but more or less what Linux has become. You see, Linux used to be about free software, as in freedom of speech, not fucking free beer or whatever, right? But it's not free anymore. It's virtually been changed beyond recognition since the 1990s or 2000 when the Arch was released or whatever. 2002, that's when Arch was released. You see, the point of switching to Linux used to be, I want to change the way I use my computer. I want to optimize my machine. I want to learn new things, compile software, get away from proprietary human rights violating crap, configure things, and use tiling window managers instead of those fucking trash float window managers. But now, people advertise Linux with things like, you don't have to use the terminal anymore. With Snap and Flatpak, Fuckpak, you can use all your programs for free. You can game on Linux. Wow, you can get Steam on Linux. You see, people change to Linux and they use their computer the same way they used to before. They use the same bloated garbage apps, the same proprietary programs, and the shitty, retarded, bloated GUIs. They install Steam and they game 5 hours a day. And then they watch Netflix 3 hours a day. It's like going from smoking to vaping. It's not really better. Their mindset is the same. They take technology for granted. They don't learn anything about what they're doing, anything about their machine or system. They expect things to magically happen with a click. They don't want to learn anything, optimize anything, or evolve. They're still arrogant, ignorant, and complacent. Like your average tech pro. They're the same fucking brain-dead consumer they were when they were using the proprietary garbage. Swapping to Linux used to be about getting away from proprietary tyranny. It was about minimal software, terminal utilities, being efficient and fast, using tiling window managers, Vim, staying away from GUIs, and now thanks to Canonical and Snap and Fuckback and fucking Ubuntu, Ubuntu, Mint, whatever, is basically commercial mouse-centric garbage. Ubuntu is virtually as bloated as Windows. Sure, it's fast and you can delete everything, but it's pretty much the Windows of Linux at this point, or Linux distros, I should say. People end up using it the same way as Windows. They have the same programs. They have the same mouse-centric GUIs to do basic shit. They'll use VS Code to edit their fucking config files. Or they'll use LibreOffice, which is false, right? But they'll use LibreOffice to do shit like manipulate text and string data. It's like, use Vim for that, right? Even though LibreOffice is false and way more privacy-respecting than Micropenis Office, it's still bloated and inefficient. In fact, the only reason I use LibreOffice is to interact with other file formats, such as DocX or whatever the fuck the Microsoft format is. Right? They should not be using that. You should be using LaTeX or GNU Trough for text manipulation, report generation, and things of that nature. You should not be using MATLAB. You should be using the R programming language, or Python even, for fuck's sake. Look, privacy, freedom, principles, and virtue cannot be gained with a simple operating system switch, okay? I'm gonna take a live USB with Linux Mint on it, flash that shit, and boom, I am better than the Mac fags. That's not how it works. You need to change your habits. You need to change the way you do things, which, believe it or not, is actually pretty difficult. You have to change your attitude towards learning. You have to have a growth mindset. You have to be okay with error messages popping up on the screen, and you have to have the attitude of, okay, how am I gonna fix these error messages? You have to be interested in learning things. Swapping to Linux Mint or whatever the fuck and playing Steam games or whatever, you might as well do that on Windows. There's just no fucking point. Using Spotify for fucking music, what's the point? Why did you even switch in the first place? It's as if you just switched so you could be that little cool, edgy kid in your class who says, I use Linux. As I always say, stop being complacent, arrogant, and ignorant. And just fucking learn something. Throw yourself in the deep end. It's going to feel uncomfortable at the start, but trust me, you'll make it. I did. And I would argue I was the most take technology for granted kind of person ever. I was so rash with my shit that the Arch installation took me so fucking long. But I made it. It's not hard. Don't go to Linux Mint or any of that shit. Just dive straight in the deep end and change the way you do things. That is how you will learn and make progress. Stop making Linux proprietary, for fuck's sake.